As I prepared my research and script for my Ruthless Soda Company short, the information about Nuka-Cola Corp kept piling up to the point where I felt like I needed to make a longer video to tell the full story. There were some things that I never got the chance to mention, like the various Nuka-Cola variants, the Great Passion Fruit Famine, and the Beverageers. So to start this little foray into the world's largest soda, pop, cola manufacturer, let's start with an introduction. Nuka-Cola Corporation entered the beverage market in 2044 when chemist John-Caleb Bradberton perfected the recipe for their flagship product, the Nuka-Cola. Despite being disastrously unhealthy, containing 120% of the daily recommended sugar, the soda would take the United States by storm and eventually the world. At some point, a patent infringement case led to Nuka-Cola changing their glass bottle shape from a curved glass to resemble rockets instead. This change actually greatly improved brand recognition, pushing Nuka-Cola further into the spotlight. The constant need for Nuka-Cola to dominate the soda market takes us to our first stop in the little Nuka-Cola adventure. Bradberton's desire to be massively appealing to general consumers led to the creation of a variety of flavors, and by that I mean like a lot of flavors. To start, there was the standard cola, made from a combination of 17 fruit essences. The mixture of carbonated water, caramel color, sugar, phosphoric acid, potassium benzoate, citric acid, caffeine, and natural flavors was said to also contain vitaminerals and health tonics. When the Great Passion Fruit Famine happened in 2044 and the recipe had to change, many noticed the change in taste. There was also a diet version which substituted the sugar for aspartame. Then, after that, there were the various flavors of Nuka-Cola. Many of these flavors were either bought or outright stolen from local pop makers. Nuka Cherry was one of 3 flavors that launched shortly after the growing success of Nuka-Cola Original. The soda was made after Nuka-Cola bought out Merle's Very Cherry Soda. Nuka-Cola changed the formula slightly, mixed it with Nuka-Cola, and enhanced it with color to boost the visual appeal. Despite being mostly limited to the East Coast, it was extremely popular. Then we have Nuka-Cola Cranberry, which was thought of by the Kanawha Nuka-Cola plant after seeing the success of other drinks being advertised as healthy, like celery sparkling water. The marketing and design of Nuka Cran would try and trick consumers into thinking it was a health drink. While the beverage is mostly advertised as coming soon in the Watauga area of Appalachia, some bottles can be found. A strictly adult beverage, Nuka-Cola Dark was a premixed alcoholic beverage containing rum. The drink boasted an alcohol percentage of 35. The beverage found moderate success in the finer areas of the United States. Nuka Grape was another acquisition by Nuka-Cola Corp, as it was originally sold overseas as Grape Pearl Soda. Launched alongside Nuka Cherry and Nuka Orange, the grape-flavored soda would find instant success on the East Coast. The last of the original fruit flavors, Nuka Orange. Like cherry and grape, orange was also a major success. The product was codenamed First Seal and used a pear brandy as a flavor base, removing the harsh aftertaste with a small amount of arsenic. The final released flavor I want to talk about right now is Nuka-Cola Victory. Victory was described as refreshingly patriotic and received a limited release in the American Southwest. The beverage is of orange color with a red, white, and blue label. There are 3 other released flavors that I will get into eventually, but before that, Nuka-Cola also test-trialed some more radical flavors. Nuka-Cola bought out the coffee company Packed Full of Joe from patent holder William Lee. Nuka-Cola's goal was to marry the flavors of coffee and cola. Initial taste tests went horribly, so much so that the chemists recommended substituting coffee with dextromethamphetamine. A quick Google search tells me that dextromethamphetamine is a central nervous system stimulant prescribed to treat ADHD. Doesn't sound like something you want to be knocking back all willy-nilly. Nuka-Cola Clear started testing after the company bought Sharon's Down-Home Country Lemon Soda Company. Nuka-Cola wanted to reproduce the lemony soft drink with cheaper ingredients to improve profits. This would-be release of the soda conflicted with promotions and manufacturing of 2 other Nuka-Cola flavors. The success of Nuka-Cola didn't come easy, however. Nuka-Cola faced 2 stout competitors who, unlike previous pop patent owners, wouldn't give in to the soda giant. These were Sunset Sarsaparilla Company and Vim Pop Incorporated. Although neither company were global successes, they each had their own share of the soft drink market, with Sunset Sarsaparilla being dominant in the western United States and Vim being the predominant drink in Maine. While Sunset Sarsaparilla stayed mostly immune to the massive cola company refusing a buyout and continuing to have success in its markets, Vim was not as lucky. Already struggling financially due to poor infrastructure, Vim would take another massive loss when Nuka-Cola sued Vim over the Quartz trademark. Nuka-Cola was in the process of producing and distributing a limited flavor called Nuka-Cola Quartz. Non-soluble sugar flakes were added to the pop to give it a quartz-like appearance. Vim also happened to come out with a Vim Quartz around the same time. Even after winning the trademark, Nuka-Cola wasn't done handing L's to Vim. Vim's investors were losing faith in the company and considered selling their shares to Nuka-Cola. This action would effectively make Vim a subsidiary of Nuka-Cola. Determined to keep the family business, the CEO of Vim attempted to launch a marketing campaign titled Vim Ambassador. Vim would hire ambassadors to wear Vim-branded power armor and tour local communities promoting the company. However, around the same time, Vim became victim to a series of crimes and sabotages around their company. Nuka-Cola hired mercenaries to disrupt the production of Vim and to sow uncertainty in the investors of Vim. The consequences of Nuka-Cola's guerrilla tactics wouldn't be seen, as before anything could happen, the bombs would drop. But let's rewind a bit. Nuka-Cola was more than just a soft drink company. With the pop success came a need to expand to more than just beverages. A variety of products started production. Toys like the Thirst Zapper, Toy Truck, and Paddle Ball were made and sold. Branded clothes like glasses, jackets, and jeans were made. Costumes like the Nuka Girl rocket suit were also sold. Appliances like the Nuka-Cola fridge were available for purchase, and vending machines were found on almost every street corner. Several mascots were even in design. Bottle and Cappy, King Cola, and Nuka Girl all greatly improved brand recognition. Inspired by the company's success, Bradberton opened a Nuka-Cola themed amusement park in May 2050. Titled Nuka World, the park opened with 2 sections available, Kitty Kingdom and Nuka Town USA. 4 more sections would later be added: Safari Adventure, Dry Rock Gulch, the World of Refreshment, and Galactic Zone. The amusement park was a great success, consistently selling out tickets, and even led to the creation of an employee community where workers could live, dubbed Bradberton, Massachusetts. The success of the amusement park and company overall led to interest from other companies like RobCo, Vault-Tec, and the United States military. The Battle Zone was a section of Nuka-Cola's Galactic Zone that was sponsored by Robert House's robotics company, RobCo. The area was to provide guests with a gladiatorial combat experience between RobCo robot models. While promised to be a place to showcase various RobCo prototypes, the combat bots were just standard models with some cosmetic changes. The partnership with RobCo allowed Bradberton to control each of the robots to defend the amusement park if necessary. The sheer amount of robotics combined with the lack of failsafes led to increasing concern in the employees of Nuka World. Anyone who dared speak of their concerns was promptly fired. This came to a head when employee Tim Whittingstone was shot by a robotic performer. The Bradberton police deemed the death accidental and released the Battle Zone and RobCo from liability. Vault-Tec was also interested in Nuka-Cola, or rather, Bradberton was interested in his own personal safety. Unable to imagine living in a vault with other people, Bradberton would commission a private hidden vault in the basement of his office. The vault itself isn't very large, but definitely suitable for a single person. This wasn't the first partnership Nuka-Cola would have with Vault-Tec either. If you have frequented this channel in the past, you might remember Vault-Tec's Among the Stars in the Galactic Zone of Nuka World. Another partnership with Nuka World, Vault-Tec would promote and sponsor an attraction in the park. While the attraction was intended to show off various technologies for colonizing a new planet, Vault-Tec representatives working at the park were told to promote the sales of spots in their nuclear fallout shelters. Among the Stars also served as an area for Vault-Tec to conduct experiments. These experiments were performed not only on guests of the park, but also staff members. Louis Bateman, the project's lead, would oversee 5 experiments. The first experiment used radiation scrubbers to emit an electromagnetic field that caused interference in the brainwave patterns of subjects. The second used speakers to influence the subjects with subliminal messages. The third released an airborne toxin from genetically modified flora. The fourth used the exhibit's reactor to emit low, short-dose radiation. And finally, the last experiment was to perform experiments 1 through 4 on the staff to test the long-term effects. When the Great War began, one of the staff members, Langston, approached another Gruner about the bombs dropping outside. Believing Langston was crazy, Gruner shot Langston before turning the gun on himself. Before we get into the Great War, there was one more partnership that Bradberton would make, and that was with the military. The US military, specifically General Braxton, approached Bradberton about the possibility of developing chemical weapons. Beverageers, who were a team of organic chemists dedicated to the research and development of Nuka-Cola, jumped at the opportunity to work on something that wasn't soft drink related. Rex Meacham, lead Beverageer, along with his team Ruth Leavitt, Edmund Medford, and Kevin Bennell, were provided a state-of-the-art laboratory underneath the Nuka-Cola bottling plant in Nuka World. It was here that Project Cobalt would begin. This all gets very sciencey, so please bear with me. The science behind it doesn't really matter, it's what came from the science that does. The goal was to achieve a stable radioactive isotope that was capable of thermogenesis. As to what this all means is beyond me, but from what I gather, the group wanted to create a substance that could weaponize anything. A version of strontium-90 was approved as the basis for further weapons development. Meacham named the substance Quantum. While General Braxton accepted Quantum for weapons testing, Bradberton saw a unique opportunity. As Beverageer Ruth Leavitt felt uneasy about making chemical weapons, Meacham allowed her to start a side project of finding a version of Quantum which humans could safely consume. Her work paid off as her efforts led her to Quantum CE-774. Their Nuka-Cola plant in Washington would serve as the testing grounds for their new beverage, Nuka-Cola Quantum. Touted as having twice the calories, twice the carbohydrates, twice the caffeine, and twice the taste, Quantum was set to be the company's next big hit. As compensation for Nuka-Cola's willingness to help the military produce chemical weaponry, Bradberton managed to convince General Braxton into letting Bradberton participate in their top-secret LEAP-X program. The Life Extension and Prolongation program was dedicated to keeping humans alive indefinitely using specialized machines. Bradberton knew total nuclear destruction was on the horizon and wanted to ensure his own survival. While Bradberton was occupied with the preparation for the LEAP-X transition, he left his assistant Peyton Huxley in charge of the company's affairs. Bradberton's original thought was that the program would provide him with a living biosuit. However, he was extremely disappointed to learn that the project could only support 15 pounds of organic material. The LEAP-X project would leave Bradberton as merely a head in a jar supported by cryogenic preservation systems. To accommodate the costs of participating in the project, part of Nuka World's budget was directed to keeping the machines running. With the new Nuka-Cola Quantum soft drink endeavor finished, Beverageer Leavitt was still unhappy working on Project Cobalt. She refused to lift a finger for the project. This continued even through the Great War. The facility's automated safety systems engaged, and the Beverageers were trapped in the lab. Isolation and the end of the world took a toll on the team. Medford left the world of the living on his own terms. Bennell dedicated his life to his work, doing his best to ignore the situation, and Leavitt and Meacham fell into even more conflict. Meacham convinced himself that Project Cobalt could save America. When Leavitt attempted to leave the lab, Meacham shot her, unwilling to let her carelessness ruin the contained lab. Bennell would later attempt an escape through the nuclear reactor's overflow pipe. Meacham would open fire as soon as he disappeared into the pipe. Bennell would succumb to his wounds. Meacham descended into lunacy. Although he did successfully finish Project Cobalt, he would perish as he waited for rescue from the military that no longer existed. Post-war, hundreds of years old Nuka-Cola is still consumed, sometimes causing severe addictions. People like Sierra Petrovita keep the legacy of the brand alive, serving as the president, the recording secretary, and the treasurer of the Nuka-Cola fan club. She even traveled hundreds of miles to reach Nuka World. While the company may have joined the hundreds of other companies that have perished alongside pre-war America during the Great War, the brand has survived long enough to make a lasting impression on the wasteland. Whether it be through enjoying the titular timeless beverage, or using the drink to distribute vaccines against a plague, or even re-establishing an economy with its bottle caps as currency, Nuka-Cola lives on.